All right. So I like to start each of these interviews off with a fun question, right?
Uh,
Britton, first to you. Let's take audiences back. What's your earliest memory of Legos, whether it was a build, your first interaction that kind of made you maybe fall in love with them?
oh my goodness. Well, I really got into it because my sister started sending them to my son. And of course, my initial reaction would be some eye rolls, being like, please don't send Lego to my house. And she was like, this is a great idea. And once we started with that, I was like instantly hooked onto it. Whether my son was going to be into it or not, I was like, okay, when's the next set coming? Because I need more.
Nikki, same question to you.
Yeah, it's as an adult. So I remember, somewhere around when I was 12. Well, I should have said the year first, but it was in the 80s. And we got a set for Christmas, and it was for actually for my brother and I because it was a huge set. And my parents didn't have a lot of money at that time, and it was the actual original Yellow Castle, which I wish we had to this day because it would be incredibly valuable. But other than that, I did not build. And when my kids got into it, especially as RVers, Lego is like the number one toy you take with you. So my kids got into it. And in 2020, they asked me to help them build a city. And that was the end of me.
That's awesome. That's awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So whoever wants to take this one can, right? What made you want to try out for Lego Masters? What's that conversation like? How does it become you two? What's that conversation?
Well, I'll start. We both have our own sides to that story. But
Hmm.
they contacted me off of something they'd seen on social media, an event I had done with my local adult Lego group. So they contacted me, and I said no. I was like, no, no, no. I don't think I'm good enough builder. I don't know. I can't do it. I'd seen the show, but I was just not going to do it. And then I told my sister. I think it was a little while later, a couple months later. I said, oh, by the way, these guys contacted me, and she can tell you what
Yeah.
happened.
So then I virtually from a distance slapped her across the face and I said, why did you say no?
Totally, that's exactly how it went down.
Yep. And I made her reach back out and
Yeah,
reapply for it. And then obviously I made her take me with her.
yeah, that's how it went.
All right, talk to me about the first build, right? You walk into the building, you go into the build, you're into the brick place and everything. You see everything around you. The atmosphere is probably crazy. The stress is there, the level of anxiety. Talk to me about maybe the dynamic of the conversations you guys have before you go onto the show. What's everybody's strengths, what's everybody's weaknesses, and how we're going to approach each of these builds together.
Yeah, and we might have different memories on this, but we definitely talked about how I was a stronger builder. I had been actually making mocks and doing a lot of creations on my own and with my group, so I had the skill with the bricks themselves. But we needed to have this partnership where she could assist me in some way. So she definitely did some training in
Yep.
advance. Gave her a bunch of sets and a bunch of bricks to build with, but I would give her certain tasks. Like obviously she can run to the brick pit and she can gather, but once you give her a certain task and say do a bunch of these, and she's got it.
Yeah, I was a great assistant. Whatever she needed, I was on it.
Yeah,
Especially when her feet started to hurt that first challenge. And
yeah,
my job was to go to the brick pit every single time.
yep, every time.
Yeah, with Nikki having a little bit more of that confidence, Britton, talk to me about you, right? Episode two, the competition. What kind of was that a boost of your confidence heading into the next competition with the win?
Yeah, absolutely. I was a brand new builder coming into this, and I think my biggest challenge was I didn't know all of the different Lego elements. So
Mhm.
I was learning as I was doing it. And then once you get going and your only job is to think about building and building with Lego elements, you just kind of you learn so quickly. And then you get a win off of that, and you're like, oh damn, like I got this. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that. And then, of course, on the flip side, episode four, Nikki, to you, we kind of see you in the bottom two. What's that conversation like after that episode, after that build, to have maybe that continuity to make sure you kind of got back on track?
Yeah, we were definitely diving into things that we didn't know. So starting with motion. So, and this was something we did not know going onto the show at all. We learned while we were there, practicing madly, but it definitely added an element of nervousness. So we became confident after the first and second episodes, especially after we won the cake. There was definitely a lot of confidence there. And then you go in and you add motion, and that's where it just got, man, you're already trying to come up with a story, come up with a build of some sort, and you add motion into that. So we were very worried, and we thought, well, motion won't come back for a while. We were completely wrong about that, but we just knew that we had to plug forward and use whatever skills we had to keep going.
Yeah, obviously in this week's episode, we see the swing movement as the central focus of the build. Movement again here. Obviously, a week after, you were hoping that it would disappear
Yeah,
forever, at least for a few
forever.
episodes. Take me behind the idea and the process of this build and working together to try to get the best build in front of the judges.
Britain.
I would honestly say I think once we had motion in this episode again, we kind of just looked at each other and we're like, let's just have fun. Let's put
Yeah,
the stress aside and let's just have fun with this build, and whatever the outcome is what we're going to go with. So,
100%. And I was often the storyteller, coming up with the ideas, and she really jumped in. I think she was a lot more relaxed and knowing that let's just have fun, come what may. And she jumped in with a great story, and I just added to that, and we had a good time with it.
What's it been like watching this journey back? Obviously, like that's the fun aspect of the thing. This filmed a while ago, you record it, and then of course you see different elements of the show that you don't see because obviously you're in the middle of building all of this stuff. What's it been like watching it back, maybe with friends and family, and seeing yourselves on TV each week?
It is an absolute blast. It is so much more fun than I thought it would be. I worried about seeing myself on camera, cringing under the blanket. And there are some moments where you're like, why did I say that? But it's so much fun. And you really do get to see a lot more than when you're on set. There's not a lot of time to look at everyone else's builds. So this is a chance to really see them. And you're obviously not facing them like the camera faces them when they give their story. So it's a lot of fun to see all of that all over again.
that's true. That's probably my favorite part, is like actually being able to see everyone else's build, because it's so quick on set that you don't get to enjoy everyone else's talent out there, and you're just so focused on what you're doing. So I love that.
Yeah.
All right, having been on the show with 5 episodes, now I'm able to ask some a little bit more in-depth questions of people because you guys had 5 builds, right? You had 5 builds together. Um, four,
Yeah.
four,
Yeah.
five,
Sorry.
yeah, five. Okay, I was going crazy for a minute. I was like, wait a minute, this is episode 5, right? I'm sorry.
I
All right,
was a team and we had one super team. Yeah.
right, exactly. So, all right, Britt, firstly, what was your favorite build of the season that you guys did together?
Oh my gosh, that's super hard. Honestly, I think the caterpillar was probably my favorite build, just because one, like you get to smash Lego, and two, it was going over a waterfall, and I was like, that's such a fun element to include into a Lego build. So and it was colorful, and it was like wiggly and just goofy, and the stress on that one was probably my favorite stress. That face would not stay on.
So true.
Nikki, what about you?
Absolutely. I was wondering what she was going to say. That was absolutely my favorite build. And the truth was, is it was a lot longer. So what you don't see is that we actually put so much more work into it, but it just busted. It would not reconnect at the end. And yet we still got a cute product. You still got something out of it that was adorable. And it was so much high level stress that you wondered how it would come out. And it came out cute, went over the waterfall great, made for good TV. And I loved it.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think we originally had like 8 body parts to it, and we're like, 4, that's good, let's go.
I love that. All right, final question for you guys is a fun one. Obviously, we have I think 7 teams remaining, if my math is correctly. Who do you think is going to win Lego Masters Season 5?
That's tough. Okay, I think my top 3 teams are obviously Ben and Michael, because Ben is such a phenomenal builder. It actually blows my mind. Then you have Corey and Rebecca, who just create really, really fun builds. And then Sage and Ian. Ian is just, I don't know if you've seen his social media page. It is bonkers, like with such talent. So I I'm a toss up between the three, because there's good storytelling and then like really good builds. So I have no idea, and I'm excited to find out.
Okay, so I was just with a lot of these guys this weekend at Brick World. I could get in trouble. Okay, so I watching from an outsider's perspective because we don't know who won. I would say Corey and Rebecca. I originally thought Ben and Michael they have an intense skill set. However, Corey and Rebecca are amazing builders, but they're excellent storytellers too. Like
Mhm.
really excellent storytellers, and that goes a long way on the show. Amy and Jamie are looking for that as brickmasters, and I think that they could take it. I think it's going to be one those top three that she mentioned.
Yeah, I think one of the fascinating things about Corey Rebecca is like early on, it was like I was like, all right, they're all right. But they've over the last few weeks, they've kind of impressed with their builds each and every week. It's like each week they're getting stronger and stronger, which is
Yes.
Yeah.
seeing like, hey, like all right, Ben and Michael felt like all right, they're leader in the clubhouse, but like these last few weeks, it's been like all right, there is other competition on here that's really gonna ready to take them down. But
Yep.
Vicky and Britton, thank you so much for your time today. I greatly,
Yep.
greatly appreciate you chatting with me.
Thank
Absolutely.
you.
A lot of fun.